Smith?
Yes.
We are at the board meeting, getting ready, and I'm just going to leave you with us until you hear President Matthews hit the gavel.
Okay. That's
This meeting will be called to order. Please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I make a motion that we approve the minutes of December 20th, 2010 regular meeting.
Second.
Motion's been made and been seconded to approve the minutes of December the 20th. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Did anyone sign in for public comments?
No, sir.
All right, presentations. April Roach for the 4-H Extension Teams.
Been told to make it brief. Now, actually, I'd like to thank the board for letting us come out today and do a presentation. We don't normally come out and talk with you guys very often, but I do like to do that from time to time just so that we can touch base so that you guys know what we're doing and you guys have a pretty good, clear idea of what we're doing. There's a couple of things I wanted to bring up before Rachel Payne, our agent in training, gets into the meat of our presentation. We gave you some handouts. A couple of those, these two here are about Energy Express, which is one of the programs that we work collaboratively with the Board of Education. Right now, the primary focus is the hiring application part of this. Site coordinator will be a certified teacher. And then the AmeriCorps mentors, which we actually work with 8 students in the classroom, as they do every year, need to be 18 by June 10th, I believe, this year, which is geared mostly toward college students who may be looking at education as an employment opportunity or college direction for them, or anybody else who might need some funding for the summer. They have increased the education award with this program, as well as the payout for the paycheck. So that's gone up a little bit, makes it a little more enticing for people to want to do that. But it is a really good program, especially if a high school student's looking at education as a possible career path, for them to find out how hard it is or how easy it may be to manage students in a classroom. The other thing that we handed you was we do a lot of adult education. One of the things that we have added to our area of the state this year are the dinner meetings that we offer through the agricultural program, which is my program that I work through. And if you look at the bottom of that page, we have Kanawha, Cabell, Putnam, and Lincoln listed. And anybody can come to these dinner meetings. Basically, it's just to sit down, order a dinner. You hear the speaker talk on the topic that's listed. There are points for certain pesticide certification classes and things like that. But there are other people who are interested in these things aside from those individuals who may get points. So if you're interested in season extension and irrigation, well, Gary Rapking will be here in March to do that at M&R. We can give you contact information, but this is a part of our adult education program, and I just wanted to provide that to all of you so that if you know someone or yourself would like to come out and participate in these, you're more than welcome. The other thing that we have going on, and we do have openings still available for that, is the WVU Master Gardener Certification Program, another one of our adult education programs that's offered through the agricultural program. That starts next week. It's going to run from January 11th all the way up through April, possibly the middle, depending on snow. We'll have to keep pushing up if we catch a lot of snow. That'll be at the Hamlin Public Library on Tuesday nights from 6 to 9 p.m. It is a certification program. There is an exam test with that at the end, and depending on whether you pass that or not, then you become a certified master gardener for WVU with the title and the, as the lady says in the show, tricked out name badge and all that we'll get for you. And then you can come and volunteer and do all those fun things as a master gardener. But it is a good class. We have a lot of our PhD horticulturalists that come down and talk about a lot of different topics. Zeke Wood, who's a former extension agent here in Lincoln, we go out with him a couple of Saturdays, and you get actually some hands-on education with pruning and propagation and things like that. So if you have an interest in that kind of thing, or know somebody who has an interest in that, please have them call our office, because we are still signing people up for that class, even up until next week and beyond that, because we want to see that class get filled up. Energy Express, of course, I mentioned that, and we are spinning that up for the summer, and that will be worked collaboratively with Critical Skills at Hamlin Elementary at this point. That's going to be the only site we're planning on having this year. And the reason for that is I really wanted to see these two programs work well together in one place, and then once we're able to manage that and the funding, funding's been a pretty big issue as far as 21st Century's had some issues, and so that's run into some issues, but that's okay. We'll have the one site, we'll get it working the way we want it to work with the Critical Skills, and I think it's going to work out well with what we have going on, and then see how that goes, and then look at re-expanding those sites for next year. One of the other programs that we've been working on with Mr. Roach and the board and the county is the ATV program. And I wanted to just bring some information to you. We've been collecting data information from the kids on this. It's been a program we've offered to 5th grade students. We've gone to 4 different schools since the spring of 2009. And that includes right at 170 students, give or take a few post-pre-testing. And what we're finding out is that 95% of our 5th grade students have ridden an ATV. So that's a pretty high number. It didn't surprise me to see that, but I expected that, but that is a fairly high number, 95%. 61% of those told us that they started riding between the ages of 3 and 8 years old. Very young age to start riding an ATV. 75% of them were taught by a parent or relative. 40% of them are not wearing helmets. 23% of them don't own one, and we don't know why that may be. And 31% of them don't want one, and we're hoping to change that. But you know, that 23% worried me. Nearly 1 in 2 report wrecking an ATV or being involved in some sort of an ATV accident. So, and that's our county 5th graders. That's not information from the other county. That's Lincoln County 5th graders, 1 in 2. And a third of those had to go see a doctor or go to the ER as a result of that accident. So even though you hear a lot more about the fatalities and the serious injuries and all that kind of thing, but really these numbers to me speak a lot louder. Of course the deaths and fatalities are tragic, and we should obviously pay attention to those, but 1 in 2. So for every other 5th grader you see, one of them has been in an accident. And it could have very easily have been a seriously injuring accident or a fatality. So it's luck maybe that's keeping this from happening. So this program has really gotten some of the message across about safe riding behaviors. And one of the things we've seen improvement in as far as pre-scores and post-scores are the fact that they don't realize that riding with passengers on ATVs is dangerous. And we've seen a 23% increase in knowledge, pre-test versus post-test, in the fact that they are starting to understand that riding 2 and 3 people on an ATV that's not meant for that is unsafe. So we're really happy to see that. And the no drinking and driving, they're scoring high across the board. So that says that message that not only the school's putting out, the counselors are putting out, the news media is putting out, that message is being received not only with drinking and driving in automobiles, but also with ATVs, because 91% of our kids know that it's never good to drink and drive, not even on an ATV. So I really hadn't planned on bringing a lot of that out, but this data came available, and I really didn't want to sit on it, and I wanted to let you know that this effort that we are working on here together with this ATV safety class that we are going to all the schools and providing has given us some information about our kids. And I didn't expect to see a 1 in 2 number, but that's significant to me. And I thought that I would like to make you all aware of that, so that we know how important this kind of education can be. And also to thank you guys for giving us the opportunity to go to the schools and provide this to the kids through counselors or different activities that we can make that available to the kids. Rachel is here for the meat of our presentation. She's going to talk to you about a program that we put together, and we have been very lucky here in Lincoln County to have the support of this board and the support of the principals in the schools. Extension programming has really had a good, strong relationship with all the educational components of this county. And we're certainly not here to ask for even more support because we're already getting so much more. But what we were hoping to do with this presentation is give you some information about what we're going to try to go out to the schools with, because I do think over the last few years there's been a decline in knowledge of what the 4-H program is and what it can do and what it can do for education and activities in this county for kids. And so we wanted to really just come straight to you guys first and give you a presentation on what we would also like to continue on to the parent coordinator program and the principals and the other schools, so that they're aware of what we can do with them in a collaborative way, because we know you guys already know it, but we wanted to keep everybody on the same page. So I'll go ahead and let Rachel get started on why we're here.
Okay, so like she said, I'm Rachel Payne, and I've been working with Lincoln County's Extension Office since July now, and so I'm here for another 6 months, and I'm in training, so we move from county to county. And so my goal while I was here, she's the only agent in the county, is help her with some of her duties. As she's the ag agent, but she also has to do 4-H agent jobs. So I've been kind of trying to help her with the 4-H. And so my main goal when we sat down and started thinking about it was to recruit volunteers to help her, because the main thing that the 4-H is based on volunteers. Volunteers run 4-H for the most part, but there's a disconnect between that and the schools and between even volunteers. So why am I here? I'm here to discuss the 4-H program, the county education program, and volunteer recruitment. And the first thing I'm going to remind you all about is, what is 4-H? Growing up, I thought 4-H meant you show livestock at the county fair. End of story. Then I got into my bachelor degree and learned that there's much more to 4-H. There is, which I'll get into in a minute. But the first thing is that it is an educational organization, and it is sponsored by WVU in collaboration with the USDA and all 55 counties in Lincoln County, in West Virginia. And what I wanted to show here is how close the Lincoln County Schools mission and the 4-H mission and vision relate. I'm not going to read them to you, but mainly it is just that it's a partnership between educators and volunteers and youth to work to have positive change in the youth's lives and to grow into healthy citizens of Lincoln County. So, let's see. The next thing is, what does 4-H do for Lincoln County students? Like we were talking about with like what April was talking about with the ATV. I mean, that's only one little tiny piece of what 4-H can do to help kids in Lincoln County and all over the state. And it also helps, it's shown, I found at the national 4-H level that 4-Hers are 2 times more likely to get better grades in school, twice as likely to go on to college, and because 4-H does so many different community service activities, that 25% of those kids are more likely to positively contribute to the community and their families, along with 41% being less likely to engage in risky behaviors. The curriculum for 4-H now is based around science, engineering, and technology, and so it provides a very educational experience for the youth as they are involved in all the different activities that 4-H offers. For example, you can see all the green are the 4-H and all the blue are non-4-H. There is, you'll see me shaking all over the board. So, there is an increase in what what the 4-Hers are more likely to be involved in. And also, growing up, you think of, I knew when I was in school that the boys were the doctors. They did the science, they did the engineering kind of degrees. And now there's curriculum available that is actually geared to girls in science, engineering, and technology alone. And there's an increase in the amount of 4-H girls that participate in science programs. So, what does it do for the educators? Recently, we went into the schools and done a Lincoln Learning Garden with second graders. We started at West Hamlin, and we were able to match every single one of our lessons that we have in our curriculum to your guys' CSOs. So, it allows for experiential learning process. You experience, you share, you process, you generalize, and you apply. And we're doing that with second graders. I mean, I think that's amazing, and they don't even know that they're doing it when they're doing it. They're participating in major science experiments and stuff, and they think they're just having fun, but they're learning while they're doing it. So some of the examples are, we put some skillathons on here which are available online. There are some for animal science, electricity, environment, energy, and entomology, and that's just a very small portion of what we're able to offer that relates to what goes on in the classroom. So we can come in, but after I'm gone, you're looking at her and she can't get to every school possible. So we're trying to recruit volunteers to go into the school. And so what does it do for the volunteers? The volunteers can be involved in positive youth development training such as 4-H University and Volunteer Leader Weekend, and it allows for them to grow and to also help the youth grow and belong in the essential elements and belonging, mastery, and independence, and generosity. And I meant to print that out and bring it to you, but when you look at those 4 things, they break into 8 elements, and they relate all to all the different school goals, all the goals you think of in education, each one of them relate back. So it's a very good program for volunteers, but that's what we were talking about with our program coordinators or our parent volunteers. It allows for them to even come in and participate in free trainings that they might not otherwise have. So, such as on that. And so, who are the volunteers? There's no limit to your volunteers. Well, other than that, you do have to go through, our interview process, and we aren't going to let some crazy person work with our youth. But
We do check the state police's sexual registries and things like that.
those kind of things. But these are just some examples of what we're working on and people that we're trying to reach. So environments are after-school clubs, community clubs, school-based education, community activities, state and county camps, county and state fairs. And then really that's very broad. There's all kinds of different things that go on in each one of those categories. So we've done some school-based education ourselves, and then we have, I think, 2 running clubs right now, and they are community clubs. We don't have any after-school clubs, and we do a few community activities, but right now, actually, at our last 4-H Leaders Association meeting, I think we had 4 leaders there. So our numbers are extremely low to be able to reach the amount of kids we have in Lincoln County. So this is where we're talking about there's kind of that disconnect between when someone says, we went to a football game and we started doing, we did face painting and also recruitment for volunteers, and they say, well, we want a 4-H after school club, or we want a club in the school, and okay, great. So who's going to volunteer and be that club leader? Because we can only that's only a very small portion of our job. So we can provide guidance and leadership, policy and regulation clarification, and promote quality training opportunities. And we do go in and teach some, and we do help with the clubs that we do have, but we need more. So, to sum it all up, what can Lincoln County 4-H Extension and the Board of Education, what can we all do together? We are gearing towards wanting to meet with like parent coordinators and parent volunteers along with or together with the teachers in the school and kind of give this presentation but more in depth. Give more, farther information on what we can provide inside the school. But to educate and recruit these volunteers to help us. And what can you all do? You can help us promote the program to school principals and staff, facilitate and support our school presentations, assist with the recruitment and retention of volunteers, and you can volunteer yourself if you're interested. But what we're trying, we're wanting to get in schools and meet with these people, but we know that everyone's very busy, and so we want to start at the top and work our way down. So we're hoping that you all will support us with getting into the schools and hopefully getting some volunteers so that we can better reach the youth in Lincoln County. Do you have anything else you want to?
I think one of the biggest issues, like she said, that we run into is we have. When I first started, I had over 500 kids that wanted to be in a club and no adult volunteers. There are 22,000 people in this county plus. I can't reach all of them. The school has a really good base for reaching parents and grandparents and people who might want to volunteer, and you have that program already in place. We have some really good quality training opportunities that we could send some of these parent coordinators to through our program, and they could use them for both the parent coordinators program and our 4-H program, which could add to the quality of the after-school programming and in-school programming that they're already doing. But what we see happening is they're like, oh great, we want 4-H at our school, but they think we come with a box full of people that we're going to open up the Acme box and people are going to jump out and boom, this 4-H program appears, and that's not how it is. What we're trying to get people to understand is 4-H program is built through their communities. I'm not going to take people from Hamlin to Harts Creek and put together a 4-H club. The people in Harts Creek will build their own 4-H club based on what they want. The people in Hamlin will build their own 4-H clubs based on what they want, what the needs of their kids are. And they will run it, they will manage it with our direction and supervision. That's what we're here to help do. We bring what the university has to offer to the county, to the adults who are interested in providing these activities. I have a whole shop full of shooting sports equipment that I can't find an adult that's interested enough to have a shooting sports club to take kids out once a month and teach them how to shoot air rifles and archery and all of that. As soon as I find somebody, then we'll have us a club hopefully. But the big disconnect is the idea that we bring people to them, and we don't bring people to them. They are the people. We bring the education, we bring the information, and we want people to build these clubs in their own communities. We don't want to tell them how they should do it for them. We want them to tell us what they need or what they want, and we help them through that. So I think would adapt well in Lincoln County, because we do have a very diverse county. If you look at the county, the needs of the Harts Creek area are different than the needs in the Hamlin area, are different than the needs in the Midway area. We have a very diverse group of people, and we all like to do our things our own way, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. We can come together as a county when we need to, and we can come together as communities when we need to. And this program is really designed to address those really tight community needs, and the adults in that community really know their own children well, and they know what they need or what they want, and so we want to see that happen through those individuals, and that's where we're wanting to try to get people to understand. It's not about us bringing people to them, it's about us working with the people they already have, because everybody has something to contribute that's positive, and that's what we want to try to pull out of these communities. And Rachel has been a big help to me since she's been here. I'd like to take this opportunity publicly to say that. She has jumped on board here, didn't know a soul in the county, and has since met so many people and has really put her heart and soul into trying to help me recruit adults so that when she does leave in July, she'll leave behind other people who have an interest in a program like she does in this county that will be able to help me manage this program. So I really do want to thank her for her work so far. It doesn't mean she can quit now.
I'll try to stay.
But, yeah, I'm trying to find a way to keep her, but we'll see.
The only thing else I wanted to really point out is we have recently updated and been updating our Lincoln County Extension site and keeping up all the different things that are going on through Extension that you might not otherwise know about, and you can find them all right there. So, do you all have any questions for us?
Just for clarification, do we have any functioning 4-H clubs in the county?
Two. When I was in 4-H, I was 9, 10, around 1980, 1982. Billy Fry was pretty active in the program at the time. At one time, we had over 40 active functioning 4-H programs in this county. At this point, we have 2. And one that I keep hanging on to is the Shooting Sports Club, because I do think that's another vital educational club that we could use. And it's got a name, the Lincoln Long Shots. I've got the kids for it, I just don't have the adults to run it right now. I've got all the air rifles, I've got all the targets, I've got the place to go. I just need the adults to help me do it. But we're down to 2. Camp is running very well. That's probably our biggest 4-H activity that the kids get very excited about doing. And we take 100 kids average to camp a year with about 20 adults, and we keep them in residential camp for a week. And that usually runs us right around the $15,000 mark for everything.
Is that in Gilbert? Is that where that's the 4-H camp? Is that
Wyoming County.
Wyoming County, yes.
We're still carrying kids to Wyoming County because that's where I went when I was 10.
Yeah.
But we are working on the one on Upper Mud, and hopefully one day if we get that arranged, then we'll be able to take kids to our own county camp. But we are not requesting cell tower service. We want to make sure we don't have cell service up there.
I would make a suggestion, especially with whenever you're recruiting parents, is number one, of course, she knows meeting with the principal. I would hit the principal up for when they're going to have an LSIC meeting, your local school board council, and a PTO meeting, because that's, I mean, as you know, that's a good way to get into the people who are really active in the schools. Another thing is, especially just like with open house at the beginning of school, because that's when everybody's really excited about school, and you're going to have a lot of parents that are going to be coming to open house and would probably not come to anything else. I mean, but that's whenever, most of the time, if there's something that's really going on and you really want to try to reach the masses in the school, I know that for Duval PK8, that's whenever you see the majority of your people in the community, besides the football. And one thing that I would is a schedule of events. Just like this past summer when we went to the 4-H club down at Palermo and did the kayaking, and my sons, they loved it. And it's a kayaking and swimming. Rick McDowell was there, and they had the blow up, the jumping set, and plenty of food. But it was fantastic, and the kids, they had a campfire and sang songs and stuff like that, and they really enjoyed that. But I think if we just happened to find out about it because I was friends with Rick. You know what I mean? And I think it's really the scheduling and actually whenever you're meeting with the principals and saying, here's a schedule and we need to get this to the kids in the school because they're going to take it home to the parents. I think, and maybe even post it on the website, the school's website, because I know that, that's how we interact with some of the teachers is through the school website.
Because I know we link our website to the school's website, but it's not the other way around.
Right.
So it'd be.
But I mean, it's just I think it's a fabulous. My dad always talked to me about the 4-H.
Hey, we're in need of good male role models.
Well, you know, I was going to the one in Wyoming County last year, and I started looking at the bottom line. I had, you know, and who I could take and who I couldn't take. So I was, we'll probably do that this year.
Hey, your whole family can go. We make age exceptions when parents go.
Well, I probably, yeah, we'll probably do that. We'll probably do that
They'll
this
take up a lot of road.
They're kids in the county just like other kids, and if it brings 2 parents out that I can have them serve 20, 30, 40 other kids, it's worth the investment to get them out.
We're used to doing that.
Well, I agree with what KK said entirely, especially about oftentimes the people at these LSIC, if those people are involved in there, usually that's the same people you call them for many things. But tell me, do you actively use churches for any recruitment?
We haven't done that. I've considered that because I do think that that might be a good place to recruit individuals who would be whose interests are associated with what we're trying to do.
Well, I was just curious about that. The other, of course, I don't know whether the local newspaper has public service ads where they could say, you know, you're seeking these volunteers, but I hope that they can do such things.
Well, I have to say the Lincoln Journal has been very good about printing nearly everything I send them verbatim. So Sean's been.
You need to read your papers.
He's a very good. Sean and the Lincoln Journal have collaborated with us in our efforts to get information out fairly well. I don't have a complaint, actually, as far as that goes.
What about, can 4-H function in the 21st century after school program? Can that be
Absolutely.
an activity?
Yeah, that's kind of one of the things we are going when we go to present in the schools. One of the top things on our list to hit up is because that's what everyone wants, is that after school program. That's where all your kids are already at. You know, you don't have to have the transportation.
That's right.
You know, all of that kind of, and that's a major we find that as being one
You
of
can
our
have
major
one club
problems.
meeting a month.
Yeah.
You could have 10 club meetings a month.
You
It's
can-
really up to the adults that are involved in that club as to how active they want to be with that club. We don't dictate that. We do recommend one meeting a month, at least, just to keep the kids involved. It's where they learn parliamentary procedure and how to accept speaking on a floor and taking turns and who has the right to speak about this and how long you have. I mean, that's where they learn all these different roles that a lot of times you go to these meetings and people are very unclear about as adults because they've not had a lot of training as children in that process of how meetings are to be run in a formal setting. So we try to start them off with that. But you can have as many club meetings a month as you want. You have one every day if you wanted.
We're just talking
We're talking
about
about
4-H
Our
experiences.
experiences.
I said I was in 4-H.
Nearly everybody in the county was. I mean, you talk to most of the prominent people in the county and people who are good support in the county, and you're really outgoing people, and most of them in this county have been in 4-H at some point in their life.
Thank you, April. Rachel.
Thank you.
so much
Thanks for having me.
sharing.
You can relax, Rachel.
That's a good presentation.
Thank you.
So let's move to the administrative section. And Mr. Roach, would you go ahead and take that?
Yes, sir. On A, school volunteers, you've been through this many times, meetings, and those volunteers are not necessary at the site. B is a contract for services with Learning Focus. The total is $89,000. West Hamlin requested training through their reading comprehension, and that's approximately $50,756, and they are spending their Title I funds by request for that. We had a consultant in with the principals, and the principals unanimously requested that we bring this person back for more days to work with our principals. And that's a total of $38,984. That's coming out of Medicaid money. C, Marshall University. This is a student that part of her requirement, as far as her, I guess, certification, is to be part of this team from the medical school. And I talked with Mr. Pritchard, and she is working, and he's happy to have her. And that's part of that. And that concludes my part on the finance, on the administration. Any questions?
So you all read and heard the administrative section.
I move.
A second. Is there any questions? All those in favor? All opposed? Motion carries. Let's go to the finance section. Ms. Gandy?
I do apologize for not being at meetings, but as you know, we bring this out and we're trying to do payroll. It's quite a big job and a learning process for most of us. But anyway, for invoices for this period, we have $318,424.26. And I do have all my copies with me today, so if you have some questions.
I have one,
Okay.
I'll just wait.
Okay, y'all, that'll be fine. Okay.
Is there any other questions? Yes.
I'll second.
So we have a motion and a second to approve the financial section. Is there any questions? All those in favor? All opposed? Motion carries.
Mr. President, I would like to thank the ladies in finance because they are working diligently, helping each other to try to make everything meet in the schedule of our checks going out, even the day before, to make sure to keep everyone with the Christmas spirit, and also to thank Cabell County again for their help and contribution of helping us make the payroll during this difficult time without Ms. Trina Barrett. So thank you for allowing me to say that.
Okay, let's move to the personnel section.
Okay, you're going to have a one-page thing. If you have any questions on any of the people listed, I'll be happy to answer any questions.
The first one there talks about the new position grant funding.
Yes.
When does that grant run out? Is it just for the rest of the year?
No. It's up into, I want to say midway of next year, because when it was given to the counties, there were 12 counties in the state that were chosen to receive this particular funding. And because of the lateness of the time that it was given to us, and then the posting, and then getting qualified people, it will go into, I want to say, September, October. They will work through the summer as well.
Okay, so they know when they sign on for this.
They do.
In October, the contract says.
They do, yes, yes. During the interview, we did talk to them about that.
Any questions? Any more questions?
I don't have a question particularly about this, but I wanted to request something. The seniority list, do you do those twice a year, once you have to post in the schools and all? Would it be possible for us to get a copy of those too?
Yes, and we're getting ready to update one.
I thought so.
Yes, has to be, I think normally by the 15th of January, but due to a holiday, they sent us a new requirement. I think it's the 18th, but yes, we're working on that right now.
Thank you.
Well,
So I'll make a motion that we accept the personnel schedule.
I'll second.
Motion's been made, and has been seconded to approve the personnel schedule. Is there any questions? All those in favor? All opposed? Okay, the motion carries. Now let's look at board comments and concerns. Anybody have any comments or concerns?
I guess I just want to ask about the policies. Where are we on the board policies?
We're waiting to hear from Sam. I actually have a note on my calendar to call him tomorrow. He asked me to call him after the first of the year.
Because December 15th was the date we were supposed to have, and the corporate office was having a difficult time because our part is done. And they're trying, and of course, they have other counties over the nation. It's kind of like, I want it done, as you want it. I want it done more. Because it's been mine to accomplish, and I want to make sure that is taken care of before we leave. So we will give you an update by email as soon as we hear when it goes up. And remember, when it goes up, that's when we'll ask for a board meeting, preferably a long board meeting, to go over all the policies. And then, once that happens, they'll be going up for review. You all will have the first brush of all the policies before they even go up for review.
Is this the time that you wanted to mention about opening up the?
Yes, there are several things, and yes, you go right ahead.
You want to do it?
Well, I'll do this part.
Okay.
As you know, and I've discussed with you, by contract, the new school will open if things don't go quite as well we'd like, November 1. And there was a question about our staff. Would we open up, and then would the teachers that bid on the job have to move? If we open, let's say, Thanksgiving, or we open at Christmas, or whatever, you know, everybody shifts. And at that point, Ms. Lucas has found and shared some information with me that I will let her at this time share with the board, how we can avoid that.
What we are planning to do is to, when the new year begins, when the school year begins, we will begin it with the staff in place, just as if we were in the new pre-K-8 school. We felt that was the best for the students. They would not start out with one teacher, and then in the middle of the year, the teachers switch from grade to grade. And that is totally legal, because
Not
a
real
school
well,
is
I can
not.
get most of it.
Speak real loud, please, for Carol's sake.
Okay,
She's
I'm sorry. We are going to start the new school year with the staff in place, just as if we were opening the new facility. That would keep movement of teachers in the middle of the year or whenever we would open. And we felt that was the best for the students. They would start out with the teacher that they would, and they would have that person all year long. So the staffing would be just as if we were in the new facility.
And what is the requirement that we have to do to make sure that everything's followed legally?
Okay. What I have to do is give the people a letter stating that we're going to be doing that, giving them an opportunity to ask for a hearing before the board, and we will give them a time and a date, and then once that has passed, then you guys will vote to open that new school after we've given everyone an opportunity for hearing. In
That
case
would be
someone
my
has.
recommendation, to do that for the sake of the children. So they don't have the one teacher, and when they make that move, they're taking their stuff out of the classroom into the new school versus someone leaving and someone else trying to come up and gather up stuff to take it. It makes a good logic for the students. So that would be my recommendation at that time. Also, it's discussing personnel. I'm going to pass these sheets out. I can give you one if you'd like. Thank you. Can you run up here? Yes. Sorry to bother you. Well, these are two. One goes to me, one to her. Okay, Mary. What I wanted to see, very simply done, and this is kind of to avoid confusion. In 0708, you look at the number of professionals that we had, and you go across, and you can see at the top of that professionals net enrollment. And you can see we have increased gradually net enrollment. We have increased gradually professional also. If you look at the bottom, service, we've increased gradually. If you look at excess, that means that we pay out of county funds employed in excess. In 0708, we was 31.38, excuse me. And 21.33 in service. If you follow that across the page, my point being, and I'm asking kind of to move forward, and I'll say this, in 0708, we were 52.71 over the formula, total, professional and service. In 0809, we were 19.54 over. In 910, we were 27.86 over. And in 1011, we will be 29.51 over if this continues for next year. But here's the thing that I think will draw that number down and say, why are we keep going up? Still being at 29.51, this considers that we have hired 6.5 counselors that are currently under grant and will be will be Lincoln County employees next year. And that's taking that into account. So when you look at that, I feel that we are a low enough number, taking that into consideration. Also, I would like to point out funding, which is always a big issue for me. I think, and Miss Gandy got this same memo from Joe Panetta, that someplace in November, I think roughly ballpark, he sent out that they were exceeding last year's revenue by $121 million. And in answer to superintendent's questions, treasurer's questions about what about the funding, are we going to have any problem with our state aid formula? And the answer is none for next year. For next year, no problem with our funding. That still gives us another year to look at it next year, meaning to see if cuts will be needed based on what they're telling us. So tonight, why am I sharing this with you? I would like to proceed with what we have going, knowing, board members, that you are 29 over total. You'll be 20.26 over professional, 9.25 over service. If this is not good, you want that lower, then I need to know tonight to proceed. And why I can't share more with you, more specifics, is because you might be involved in hearings and so forth, if there's ripping or transfers, and so I don't get into any more specifics than that. But I can entertain questions to see if I can answer.
Well, I think we all understand maybe the necessity of being over those school aid companies. I'm glad that you pointed out about the counselors, because that's a question I know that I've had posed to me before. But and certainly, if we can afford to do this, I know I'm in favor of continuing to do this. And I think we've talked with Bertie about that, trying to see when we had our financial workshop. That was I know personally my concern at that time was, where are we going to be as far as the number we're over? Are we going to be able to continue to do this? So if you all, Bertie, and you feel that we're going to be able to fund this next year, then I'm in favor of continuing. And then if we just look at this annually, then the personnel season, your activities you have to take, and I know each year we have to look at it, as everybody does.
And
if
also,
you all think we have the money to do it, I'm in favor of continuing.
And I'm also thrilled that if you did take the 6.5 counselors away, then we're back down to 23. you know, and I think, again, OEPA audit requires us to have counters, and that was the finding, so I feel good about it, my staff feels good about where we are at this time, knowing next year we will revisit, and we could be having to cut positions, not people, maybe by 10. But this year, I feel secure with where we are.
Well, as Fred knows, you know, there was a time when, you know, we were reluctant in Lincoln County to be over any personnel because the county revenues weren't as great as they are now.
There's my sounding board back
Let me,
there that lets me know.
Let me just give you an example. When we finished 9/10, we were over 30.54 positions, and we still ended up, if you add back into OPEBs, we ended up with 1.2 million, plus we had $1 million that funded this year's budget. Previous year, we were over 31.56, and we still ended, you know, with like 1.5 million. So financially, we can handle this.
Well, I guess what I was saying, it just seems like we as a county we're generating more tax revenue, whatever you want to call it now, where we could afford to be over, where at one time we couldn't.
Well, a couple things have happened since the terrible days that we all went through. There was the House Bill 45, something that they passed, which gives us more funding. They also changed the local share. They used to take 98%, and they dropped that down to 90%, so it gave us extra money there. Then also our tax base has increased. So we have several good things that's happened to us.
And I'd also like to say,
Enrollment has gone up.
in 07, 08, we did RIF several positions also. Because Bertie was thanking me for, at that point, for doing what she was very concerned about. But
At one point,
everything,
we were over 43
yeah,
positions.
everything fell into place. So, and I'm sharing this as the official, mine was just notes, but I'm giving you Bertie's version, which is, I'm assuming, official version.
But now, you know, I haven't updated the budget for this big historical chart here. I haven't added in, because I just haven't got to that point, and I'm kind of bogged down with payroll right now. But it'll just kind of give you a history of you know, we have been over.
But what you're saying, Bertie, is even though something possibly could happen to some of the state funding that Joe Burnett was talking about, we would still be okay.
Yes, we will still be okay. And then, I think the economy is turning around somewhat. Of course, you know, Joe confirmed that by his email, that this chunk of money that was being supplemented by the state stabilization funds,
But
don't even have to do that anymore.
Federal
There's enough money through the state-generated revenue that we don't even have to do that anymore. So it is looking
But
very
again,
good.
we're only as good as our state treasurer tells us, so that's our guideline as to where we are. If he would fail us, all counties would be in trouble, because that's our dependency. And he sent that out very early to let us know, because we were continually asking in superintendent's meetings, tell us, are we gonna have the money, or we cut 10%? What's the deal? And finally, they answered us, I guess, when they had enough
I
knowledge.
certainly have no problem with continuing this.
I don't
We
either.
need to purchase some credit default swaps.
You might have to explain that to us, but we might.
Maybe we need some insurance for the IG, knowing that it's going down. That's what I'm talking
And
about.
I do not need a vote, I just need for you all to give me the go-ahead kind of nodding or whatever at this point.
I think it's a great idea.
Should we look at other things like equity transfer? Or would there be any
Yes,
additional
yes,
personnel?
yes. But no,
You're not looking to cut positions, you're simply going to be reacting to the
Right.
conditions.
I will cut some positions, but not people. But that's where we come to you, as you know, is here's what we think, and then you vote up or down on that. But the main thing was just the numbers. I want to make sure you're happy with what we're doing. Bertie's confident, and I depend on her for that. Carol, are you okay with this? Can you give me a nod? I don't know how I can see it. Can you give me one?
Well, I'll give you more than that. I'd like to keep everybody that we can possibly keep, because more than anything, I know the hardship it presents when our children have to leave the county or leave the state to get a job.
We will.
I would like to, if we can financially do it, I would like to keep those positions,
Very well.
not cut anybody.
Thank you. And that's all I have, Mr. President, for my part until executive session.
I think that's fantastic. We don't have to cut anybody. That's good news. Good news. One thing that I would like to add to the board comments and concerns, I'd like to look at, for the next board meeting, if we could look at the extracurricular incentive pay, or I should say pay, and can we put that on board action for the next meeting, please?
Extracurricular
As in, look at some.
Sports?
As in sports, you know, some
Okay.
coaches pay, something that's been brought to my attention, I think that we need to look at. I would like for it to be under board action.
I will, we will do that, and I will have some information to share with the board at that time, and gather some up so that coaches pay.
We'll discuss that.
Yes. Board vote on, board action, vote. Discussions, opinion.
We need some information.
Yes, yes.
But anyway, is there any way that you could provide that through email to all the members?
I will do my best to send it. I don't know how I'm going to be able to acquire it, or how they'll give it to me.
Or if you want, you can go online and get it, because it's listed. You can actually look at it online as a PDF file. So, I mean, you can have access to it.
I have the experts here who can do all that.
Yeah.
Is it for all the counties?
No, it's just for ours. For our
Oh,
county.
I'm looking for.
Our salary schedule?
I'm-
Yeah,
It's on
just
there.
to look at the salary schedule for,
But I'm
for
going to
extracurricular activities.
for other counties, so the board has some kind of
Here.
comparison. Yeah,
This is all extracurricular activities, or just coaches?
Extracurricular activities,
I mean-
be coaches, I think that's what's listed, I haven't seen
I
anything
mean,
else
there's,
on
there
there.
are other
There's others.
extracurricular.
I think it's the, it would be football. you know,
I think right now
badminton,
it's coaches.
Badminton,
Yes,
volleyball.
We're looking at coaches pay. It's been brought up before, and we've done some preliminary work, but what I want to bring to the table this time is some comparison, proportionate, minor sports, major sports, you know, just give everything on the table so we can have a comparison.
Yeah,
And then informed decision can be made, and that's what I think Mr.
yeah, I think that would be good.
Well, I understand that, I'm just wondering about the other extracurricular paid positions.
I don't think that, I don't know if that's listed on the schedule, it may be.
It is.
It may be.
It's listed.
It may be.
Well, I'd like to look at those that are curricular and
I would too.
non-curricular.
Okay. Well, then, please add that to the list.
Will do.
Yes, all about that.
Let me ask a question. Did you guys get a copy of like the salary schedule book? It's called the Finance Department book. Did we give you guys one of those at the beginning of the school year? Because a lot of the things you're asking about tonight, you know, seniority is in that book.
Family rules, budget codes.
They got it, they just don't
They'll
remember.
remember what it was. It's
It's
got
all
salary
right.
schedule.
I don't know, but also, it's very difficult, and I would recommend that we just, when they ask for something, the superintendent, I would like to bring a fresh version to them, just confined to what we are talking about, because it is less confusing. And they have that, so even if we pull out and just make a few copies, not the whole book. We like to keep on. I don't have anything, Mr. Vickers.
But you didn't give us one.
I don't really.
You gave us one.
It's in right in the back.
Yeah, we need a motion to go to executive session.
I'll move.
You second, so we have a motion and a second to go into executive session.
Could we add one item to this, please? We have on here to discuss the superintendent's posting, Hart's property. Could we also add another employee matter? Personnel.
Professional?
A professional employee matter.
Same 6-9A-1.
And I would-
It says employees.
Yes, I would like to say, if I may, has it been voted on in executive session?
No, not yet. No, we have any questions?
I'd like to make a comment before we do that. I know.
Go
It's
ahead.
appropriate. I am not seeking another contract at this time, not at this time, not seeking another contract to be the superintendent.
I hear that.
Thank you. But I just want that on record for that part before we go in.
He's saying he doesn't want to be superintendent next year.
Definitely. Okay.
It's not a negative, it's just.
Yeah, I know, but
seeking
it's,
an official contract.
You were gone before and you came back. So,
That's a surprise, that's a lot.
Well, I'd like to add the employee concern to my motion in executive session.
And I'll second
Okay. Is there any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
that.